Seth motherfucking Enslow is in the building as the first guest in the new studio.
Yeah.
And I'm fucking tripping, bro. This is I text you and I was like, I don't know if I want to like go full fanboy, but I wanted to let you know that this was like a bucket list deal to have you in here. When I started the podcast, I was like, Seth Enslow would be one of the sickest guests I could possibly get on out of anybody.
Nice. Well, I'm here. So your dream came true.
Done. So you guys are here for the Crusty tour, obviously.
Yeah, 2019 Crusty Rise of the Demons tour.
Yeah, right. So who's on that these days?
We've had Taka the last couple shows. Who else? Brian McCarty from America also. Who else we got?
There's a couple young kids
Jacko,
from
Alderberg.
Yeah, there's like, as far as Americans, I was trying to think, but I think they're the only two.
Yeah, right.
But then, yeah, there's Jacko and Adelberg, and then like all the Freestyle King boys, the Richards brothers,
Yeah.
and who else? Bowden, right? Is that his name that just won a Nitro? Pat? Yeah, he did the first show in Campbelltown, but we only did a half show because the weather was just so windy and cold, so that didn't work out too good show wise. But yeah, so then it's just, that's about it, I think. Who else? Shuey. Shuey came and rode. Yeah, Shuey rode the last two shows, and so did Luke Urich.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Luke Urich's another dude I want to get on here.
Yeah.
He would be gangster. Like, that whole, like, your generation, like, I'm 31, so I'm, like, I grew up in a remote area, like, way up north in Cairns. You guys used to do Crusty shows there. All we had was, like, Wayne Leonard's dirt bikes, Cairns Honda, and then we'd get Crusty DVDs from there. And then my uncles would, like, every time a new Crusty DVD come out, he'd bring it over, everyone would get together in the living room, and it was like a premiere event. Because, like, we just didn't have a lot of that stuff, and we felt so far removed from what you guys were doing, like in Glamis and going to fucking Puerto Rico and all of these crazy places. And it's just like, it's pretty insane how you guys shaped a generation. Like, I can talk to anybody I know that rides dirt or ever even watched a dirt bike film, and they know who Seth Enslow is, they know who Bubba is. Like, did you guys think that that was going to be, like, you couldn't have predicted that that's how the shit was going to play out?
I hate to say it, but yeah, I did.
You thought when it was going on,
I knew.
You knew that.
Yeah.
That's so rad.
Because yeah.
Just not getting much levels.
Yeah, check 1, 2.
Yeah.
Microphone
It's
check.
working.
Yeah, we are now. Yep.
Sorry, boys. Let's start this podcast again.
All right.
With the one and only. I can keep my intro. But I think it was cool, like, what you were just, so you were just basically saying then that you knew that this was going to happen. Like, with everything that was going down when you guys were filming that first, because were you in the first, like, were you there from the start with the Crusty stuff?
Yeah. Basically, I grew up back east where it snows, so we used to watch snowboard videos called Creatures of Habit snowboard videos.
Yeah.
And we'd get all fired up, and Double O Don Zabo and Damian Sanders and Dana Nicholson and all these snowboarders were launching off big cliffs and doing these funny little skits and all these cool videos. So growing up watching that, when I moved to California just to get out of the snow so I could ride my dirt bike all year long, it was more for racing. Because that's all there was. The jumps were on the racetrack. There wasn't much free riding where I grew up. I moved to California, and there's free riding everywhere. The sand dunes, Ritchie Canyon, Beaumont, all these hills where you could make jumps with a shovel. And first people I meet was Bubba, and he said he knew Dana Nicholson and them that did the Creatures videos.
Really?
So I said, no way. I grew up watching those. You know those guys? There's no way. I just come to California, didn't know one person.
So where did you guys meet?
At Race Tech. He worked at Race Tech Suspension. And that was the first place I went. Actually, the first place I went to was to Glen Helen. As soon as I got to California, first day, Thursday morning.
That is cool. That is fucking cool, dude.
Came in on a Thursday with my bike in the back of the truck, went straight to Glen Helen, made morning practice, did just full practice open track, and then from there went down through Pomona and stopped at Race Tech, and Bubba was staying after work to do some phone calls. Met Bubba. He told me he knew that crew from Huntington Beach that made the snowboard videos, and I'm like, No
What
way.
the fuck?
No way. So I went down there and met Dana, and Dana tells me, oh, we've been hanging out with the motocross guys. We've been hanging out with Brian Manley and Joel Albrecht and all these dirt bikers because we got dirt bikes now. We're over snowboarding. We want to ride dirt bikes now. So we're going to make a movie like the snowboard movies, but with dirt bikes. I'm like, done. I'm not racing anymore. Let's make these videos because they're going to change the whole sport. They're going to be world renowned and they're going to sell hundreds of thousands of copies, and it's on. So I just knew as soon as he said that, it was over because the sport really needed it. You know, motocross had videos of like, oh, this is how you do a whole shot. Put your elbows up, watch the gate, you know, like instructional videos. There was nothing cool like the snowboard or skate videos or surf videos with rock and roll music to action, free riding, blowing shit up, having a good time. So I knew that the sport needed it because dirt biking was awesome. Jumping motorcycles was awesome. Let's show the world how awesome it is. So we knew.
You guys affected, like, I would go on LimeWire and Napster and I'd be looking at the credits of a Crusty Demons film, and that would be my play. Like, I didn't know where to get music from. I didn't know any of that shit. Like, you'd go into a record store back in the day and you'd see like the CDs, like hundreds of CDs, and then you'd see like top release, and that's kind of like what you looked at. But like Pennywise, Rob Zombie, all that shit was in there, but like I didn't know to look for any of that. Like, you guys were these taste makers, and I think that why it was so successful is like it just added to the culture in such a massive way. There was like this huge void, and I think that there was like, I guess it was like you guys were an expression of what everyone was feeling, what everyone wanted to do, but no one had captured that and put it into like a box and it's like, this is who the fuck we are. And it's like, you know, you roll through Southern California, you see the lifted trucks, you see the tattoos, you see that whole thing, and like everyone's listening to metal music, going to shows, but it's like you guys just captured this essence of what everything was, and it just it literally did change everything. And like I said, a kid in Cairns halfway across the world is now downloading these playlists, and it was like that was my Crusty mix, and then I'd burn it onto a cassette tape and then I'd put it into my car. Orange County Punk. That was the vibe.
Yeah, and that's how we got a lot of the music for free for the videos, because these people realize, oh, this is a whole other market to get out there to people that have never heard of us.
So
we're going to gain fans by letting these guys use our songs. So bands were sending music all the time to the Crusty or the Flesh Wound Boys to put in the videos because they wanted to get their music out there. Yeah, there was no iTunes. I mean, there was MTV, but there was no cell phones. It's nothing like it is now.
Yeah.
There's no social media. There was no way to get your music out there like there is now. There's no YouTube. There's none of that. So imagine times without that. And then, like you said, you had no idea. You heard the music on the video.
I didn't know what to listen to. Like, I didn't even know what I wanted. And you guys
showed you what you wanted.
You guys, no, but that's what it is. Like, you guys told me, like, listen to this. This is what we're fucking doing, and it's sick. And then I was just like, I'm in. And like, even, you know, this morning, like, knowing that you were coming on, I just had like Rob Zombie just like stuck in my head, and you know, just like those things are just, they're so timeless. And I think that especially the music side of things, like, it stays with you forever. Like, wherever you were at that point in your life when you heard that film and those songs, that, you know, they become like the soundtrack to your youth. And I think that, yeah, it was just so different. It was so impactful that it literally gave birth to an industry.
We attach a melody to a memory.
True. There you go.
Eye, ear, visual. I mean, and then we started selling soundtracks because everyone wanted to hear.
Yeah. No, 100%. So where did you grow up? It was on the East Coast, but where was it?
New York State, upstate New York.
Okay, cool.
On the border of Canada. Yeah, grew up there playing ice hockey till I was about 12. Parents got a divorce. Mom moved me and 4 brothers and 1 sister, or 3 brothers and 1 sister, so it was 5 of us, down to Pennsylvania border. So there was no ice hockey down there and no money, so I just started working, saving money, bought a dirt bike, and the closest tracks to race were New York State, the Western New York Sports Committee. So I raced that for a couple years and then graduated high school and said I need to move where I can ride my dirt bike all year long because I'm sick of looking at it in the shed while there's snow on the ground. So I moved to Florida first. Just outside of Tampa, Florida, in a little town called Zephyr Hills.
And then you said, fuck this, it's too hot.
Well, it's just too humid and it's just too flat. There was no free riding. Like, California was the dream. You know, I could see the pictures and I knew there was sand dunes there and plus snow. So you got the best of both worlds. And, you know, I figured if nothing else, I can be a stuntman in Hollywood. I'll jump off trees or roofs or out of cars or do whatever. I do stunts my whole life. I was a stuntman since I was a kid, so I was happy to do stunts or whatever, or just ride my dirt bike more. So I moved out to California after one winter in Florida, and that's where I've been ever since. So since 1994, graduated in 93. The next year moved to California.
I always wondered with you as I got a little bit older, and I was like, is this the kind of guy that is just, this is his ticket out of being fucking poor and not having any, you know what I mean? Like, you look at there's aspirations of like what you want, especially in America, the American dream. And it's like, did you look at like, this is my chance to fucking live the American dream? Like, I'll cop a couple broken bones and some surgeries and shit if I can, get from down here to up here. Was that like where your headspace was to like, because you would the thing with you that I always thought is like, people remember the crashes, right? But it's not the crashes they remember. I think what people really remember is that every single person, like me and my brothers and my mates, when we watch you huck some fucking ridiculous jump, nobody thought that was possible. You were like the first dude to have the nuts to do it. And we always would say the same line to each other. Imagine if he fucking landed that. So you were like that original dude. And I think you like gave people hope of like a new level of like what could be achieved. Because you'd hit this crazy shit in the dunes that like until then, no one would fucking even look at that shit. And it was almost like the crashes were kind of the thing that would like, people would be like, dude, did you see that Seth crash? But it's sort of, I think it ran deeper in people's psyche of, I was like, it's not the crashes, it's like the fact that you fucking went for it and you almost pulled it off. And it's like, that I think is like what you really contributed to this whole movement is like this level up. But I wondered if that was inspired by you really just wanting to like live that dream.
100%. Yeah. I mean, grew up poor, started working at a young age, bought my own truck and dirt bike and started racing. I always had old used bikes. And then it just all fell into place when I moved to California, met the right people. I knew it was going to happen, but it was a delayed reaction. We made the video, we knew it was good and it was going to be big, but by the time I actually started getting sponsors and made it so I didn't have to work construction anymore, it was a year later at least, after the video came out. It wasn't like instant, my somewhat instant fame for the video and myself, but we were attached, and I didn't really start getting sponsors calling me till we were making Crusty 2. Okay, these guys are here to stay. They're making Crusty 2, now they're making Crusty 3. This isn't just a one-hit wonder. They're going to make these movies every year, and they're going to keep up in the bar. And what's he going to do this year? Yeah. So we had to keep it going. We had to make better videos every year was the goal, not make something not as good as the first one. So how are we going to one up last year? Oh, well, I guess all you guys could park on the landing and I'll land on all your bikes. But that wasn't planned. But we got the shot. Yeah. So
that's probably like one of the most iconic shots ever. And like to make it even better is Emig standing there just like complete fucking mind blown. Like Emig standing there thinking he's one of the baddest dudes in the world on a dirt bike because he's like leading the championship. And then here's this motherfucker that just goes like, does something he would never attempt in his entire life. And I think like you see the image of Emig being like, what the fuck was he thinking? But I think what he really was saying is like, I'm not really a man. Like, I think that's what that surprise was,
That's funny.
But what was the drive to even do that sort of shit? Like, where did it even enter your head that stuff was possible? Or did you just not even know it was possible? You're just like, fuck, I'm just going to say.
Just wanted to go for the biggest jumps. I think the big thing was starting to film with Dana for the Crusty videos for part 1. We'd go find a jump and that jump was big, third gear, that jump seemed big. We'd go home and watch it on the video and it just looked way smaller. So if a third gear jump looks like a second gear jump, we're going to have to hit fourth and fifth gear jumps from now on. So we just kept looking for bigger jumps. So it's always trying to get to that 200 foot mark and hit it in fifth gear, whether it was dunes or dirt hits that we built. So it was just always trying to go bigger.
Did you have like a fear switch? Like, were you scared of this stuff and you were like doing a manual override, or do you think, because like that's like Rob, like I'm real close with Robbie, like he's scared of his shit, like it scares him to the point where he breaks it down, he processes that fear, and then it's like this active battle between like Robbie and the fear, and like he has to figure out how I overcome that. Like, were you a dude that had that sort of battle, or were you just like, it was just like drive to just fucking send it?
It's more drive, and there definitely is a switch. I mean, you definitely have to flip that fuck it switch when it's go time and just say, you know what, I got myself in this situation, talked about doing it, I'm not going to bitch out now, going for it. So you just have to flip that switch, kind of like, fuck it, here we go, and just start banging gears at the takeoff and not even think about anything but launching your bike, really.
But as you got like more hurt, or you had more these crashes and stuff, like did it slow you down, or you were just so in control of that switch?
Oh, the switch is still there. Like, even when I was in control and I'd worked up to it and I was sure what speed, like when in 2008 when I jumped 301 feet at Calder Park, like I knew the danger there, and I was definitely nervous and scared because it's deadly, but at the same time, that was the thing I'd been waiting to do for so long that it was go to time to work. It's basically a job that you create for yourself, and now you got to do it, whether you want to or not.
Did you almost have a thing where like you like held yourself accountable, or if you said you were going to do it, like the more you said you were going to do, or the bigger you said you were going to go, is that sort of a thing that would drive you to like, it's like, fuck, well, I said I was going to do it, and then you use that statement to then motivate you to like not back out? A
little, but not really. More just like I just wanted to keep going bigger. And then as I started doing bigger jumps, I saw that Robbie Knievel was getting all this airtime on TV, just, using his last name, coattailing his dad, but not really pushing the limit of distance and jumps. They were all calculated and fairly safe compared to what I wanted to do. So that's what just, kept the drive for going 300 feet, and for breaking the distance record at the time was 250 feet. So
that seems like nothing today.
Yeah.
Huh?
And now it's, over 400 feet. So it's just crazy. And it's just all real speed, really. It's just about speed.
It's
so
physics,
how fast can your bike go? And the old CR250 two-stroke only goes so fast. So we get on the 450 and gear that thing up and make it, try to do 100 miles an hour. Once you're over 100 miles an hour, these bikes aren't made to go that fast. So we just need faster, bigger bikes.
Did you see Axel's crash that he had? Dude, how did he get out of that? So like, that kid's like made of some kind of fucking pixie dust, eh? Like, he seems to just and even the one that he had at that what was that latest film that they did where he like was out at like Ocotillo or whatever, and then he jumped that gap and he cased it and blew out his rear wheel. It's like, fuck, bro, you got lucky, dude. Like, that shit could go so bad.
He's amazing, and he's young, so that helps him not get hurt so bad, and flexible. But he's just, out in the dunes, that guy finds these jumps that just, you didn't even see it. The landing's only a couple of bike lengths, and it's fifth gear, and there's no test jumping it. You got to just go for it. And he's unbelievable. He's raised the bar in free riding so high.
That's the thing, like, I've been out and shot at Glamis, and I think that's one of the things that is like an underappreciated fact, is like having the eye for it. Like, you really need to be able to see that shit.
The eye and the balls, because like I said, there's no pre-jumping. With a ramp, if you're worried about it, you can slide the ramp right up to the landing and slowly work it back until you can't go any faster or you're happy with the distance. With a jump out in the dunes, it's not a tabletop where you can just keep going a little bit till you hit the landing. There's gaps and valleys that you have to clear, so there's only one place to land, and that's on the landing. And you're thinking fifth gear is going to get you there, or hoping fifth gear is going to get you there, or a fifth gear, fourth gear, whatever the jump is. But usually in the dunes, it's fourth or fifth gear.
So what was your, growing up where you did, that's not a big motorcycling sort of area because of the snow. What was your early influences to like want you to even save your money and get a dirt bike? Like, where did that even come from?
I had a couple like uncles and just like a couple icons at a young age, like David Bailey and Rick Johnson. I got a motocross magazine and pulled the pictures out from like 1985 CR 500 that David Bailey won the nationals on, and I had a couple friends that had bikes whose dads had money and bought them a little XR80, and I just would dream about having a bike because they had one. There's no way I could get one. They didn't let me ride it. I was just the poor kid that wished he could have one. So all I had was a BMX bike to pedal around and just dream of the day that I'd finally have enough money to buy a motorcycle. But it wasn't until I could get a job at 12, 13 years old, start saving my money and get one.
Did you have any like inkling at like that age, like 12, 13, when you're like even working to save? Like, did you have that thing of like, if I get a bike, I know I could do this and I could do this, and then I could be this guy, and then eventually be like Seth Enslow, you know? Or did you just wanted to get a bike?
I wanted to get a bike, and then once I started racing and jumping, I just fell in love with it even more, and wanted to chase the dream and see how I could do racing, and that's all there was back then, was racing. And it was a long road, and I started late. All these kids start on 50s and 80s, and my first bike was a 125, and I was 16 years old, so I just felt like I had to catch up, always catching up, because I got a late start at the racetrack. And then when I fell in love with jumping the bikes, I just wanted to move to California where I could race all year long and find bigger, better jumps. And people asked me what my plan was, and like I said, I figured if I don't make it racing, maybe I could be a stuntman. I don't know. Just want to move to California. That's where I want to go. So it wasn't, my grandma asked me if I thought I was really going to be able to make a living on my motorcycle, and I said, I don't know. I'm going to give it a shot. I don't want to be old and say, what if?
Yeah.
What if I tried it and it would have worked out? I don't want to be a bitter old man, so I'm going to at least chase the dream while I'm young. If it works, it works. If not, I'll figure something else out.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like that, living over there, it's so crazy to see that is just an attitude, man. Like, so many people have that attitude of like, I'm going to go to California and I'm going to make it work. And so many people, like, obviously a lot of people don't, but so many people do make like crazy shit happen by just like moving to California. Like, have you ever thought about why that is?
It's a land of dreams, Hollywood and Los Angeles, and just that's where it all goes down. That's like the melting pot for everything, and it's got the terrain there for motorcycles, so that was the big draw for me. But it's just the land of dreams. And a lot of times they happen, but if you don't chase them and give it a shot, you'll never know.
Do you remember that first practice that you did at Glen Helen? Like, do you remember if there was anyone big there, or like because there's no track like where you're from that's like Glen Helen, especially if you came from Florida.
Well, actually had a couple outdoor national tracks pretty close, like Unadilla was close to me, Broomtauga, Binghamton, High Point, in Pennsylvania, and Steel City.
Did you ever get to ride those?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did you ever do any nationals?
Couple, but it was right around the time that I moved to California, and I didn't even want to race anymore. It wasn't about racing, so I worked my way up to the expert level, and then moved to California and take the numbers off my plates, put stickers on there, and just wanted to make movies, videos.
Dude, it's so crazy, like, because now it's so easy for that to happen. Like, anyone can do that. Like, you get a friend to film you, and if you've got the balls and you got the talent, you can, any video that you put on Instagram now, if it's good enough, it will blow up. Like, there's no one nowadays that's going to do a triple backflip and we don't see it.
Right.
You know what I mean? But like in your day,
everybody's got a camera on their phone.
100%. And it's like you can go live with that shit, and then you can tag Travis Pastrana, and then Travis Pastrana, like Willie, you know that Willie kid?
Yeah.
The scooter dude? Like he's just was on Instagram and had like a big YouTube thing, and then he's in the Nitro Circus, and then he gets on a BMX bike, and then Travis helps him out doing what he's doing. Just won 3 golds in a row at X Games. So it's like that recipe now. It's not to say that the talent's not there, but it's just like so much less of a roll of the dice. Like, you don't have to drive to California and hope that you'll meet somebody that knows somebody. Like, you know, nowadays, if you just do the right thing in terms of the physical trick or whatever it is that you're trying to do, you're going to get noticed, you're going to get sponsored, you're going to happen. But like in your day, dude, there's like no guarantees at all.
I've been rolling the dice all my life. Everything's a dice roll. Every jump, everything. Just roll the dice, you know? In the beginning, for sure. But as I learned jumping and figured things out and learned from mistakes, then it got a little bit more dialed in. It was less guesswork, but so much of my life and chasing that dream was a roll of dice. I don't know if it's going to work or not. Let's see what happens. Give it a shot.
Do you think a lot about that stuff now? Like, when, you know, you flying over here now, you're doing like the Crusty tour still. It's like there's still so much cool shit that you're involved in, but it's like, do you think about like it's you want to say luck, but like it's never really luck. But in your day, the odds of making it was so much less. Like, do you think about how all this shit played out? Like, even meeting Bubba that first day in Race Tech, like, what if you guys didn't meet? Or do you think that what you were doing and the way that you were going was, like, with the way you were riding, the hits that you were sending and stuff, like, do you just think it was inevitable? Like, someone was going to find me in California?
Not inevitable, but things fell into place, and I met the right people at the right time, and it just wouldn't have happened if I didn't make that first step and move out there with $1,400 to my name and didn't know a soul. And just to meet Bubba right off the bat and those guys, it was meant to be. You know, certain things in life are just meant to be. But if you don't sack up and give it a shot, it might be risky. Everybody might say, oh, you're not going to pull it off. You'll be back with your tail between your legs when that money's gone. You can't just move to California and pull it off. You're right out of high school. You don't really have any trades. You don't know anybody that owns any company is going to put you to work. What are you going to do? Where are you going to work? What are you going to do like after the first month when the money's gone? You'll be back. $1,400
is fuck all.
Yeah. And it just all fell into place. I met Dana. He said, well, what's your job? What do you do? I said, I'll do anything. He said, well, let's do some metal stud framing and drywall. I said, all right, put me to work. So he took me to work every day. We'd bring our bikes to work. After we got done working, we'd go ride and get footage filming, riding with the top pros of the day, like top racers, McGrath, Emick, all those guys, you know, and they were just in magazines to me. And now to be riding with them, and okay, well, they just hit that jump. I guess I have to hit that jump if I want to be in the video. I can't not hit the jump. Yeah, I got a piece of shit bike and no skill, free riding, but I'm going to give it a shot. So that's the way it was in the early days.
Was it hard to keep up with those boys at the start, or did you find that you were able to like go sort of toe for toe when it come to like the free riding stuff?
I'd hit all the jumps they hit, but in the beginning it was a disaster most of the time because I had blown suspension and just didn't have the equipment really, and or the skill or experience. But after a while, and you know, once I got a new bike and did it more and more often, then I figured it out and learned. But it just took diving in and going for it. So
when you guys were doing the first Crusty film, was like everyone had jobs basically, and it was literally like an after school project?
Yeah, everybody but the racers. The racers are obviously getting paid to race, and so we'd have to kind of work around their schedule when they had time to go free riding with us, when they didn't have to be at the track practicing or flying to a race or whatever their schedule was. We'd just work around that. And if me and Dana had a job out towards Menifee, Temecula area where they all lived, we'd bring our bikes to work. We'd try to work 6 in the morning until 2, still have a few hours of daylight before it got dark, and hit Ritchie Canyon or Beaumont or wherever. Yeah. And on the big weekends, we'd go out to the sand dunes and just film all weekend.
Was there much of like a pushback from the industry when it came to like taking these races and being like, oh, fucking, I reckon you could do that?
Yeah, 100%. A lot of their sponsors didn't like that at all. A lot of them told them they can't film videos if they're sponsored by them. They're being sponsored to race, not go to hit crazy jumps for videos. And there's a lot of bad mouthing the Crusty video as well when it first came out. A lot of the magazines.
Oh, really?
Oh, this is making our sport look bad. These people are drinking, partying, and burning things and making it all look like white trash, chaos, and it's not good for our sport. So people didn't want to be involved.
Yeah, there was like a pretty clear line that got like started getting divided between you guys and then like the sort of clean cut moto guys. And then I think when the whole Metal Militia shit started, that even went like took it even a little bit further, I think, because I think Deegan, from my outside perspective, it looked like he was actively hamming it up because he was like, you know what, this shit's selling, let's fucking sell. Like, I think it's, to me, again, from the outside, it looked like this was just the way you guys were, and then those guys took it even further by going like, well, if that's working, let's sex it up a bit and go even further with it.
Yeah, and he saw a business opportunity to make money on it. You know, there wasn't any core companies like that with selling t-shirts and hats. It was just, and that was kind of like more like a club almost of groups. It was a group of guys that rode together. We all rode together. We wore the Metal Militia shirts and stuff, and it just launched it was so new and fresh. It was easy to launch it with the videos, so it blew up. But yeah, they were always the dark horse, you know, crew.
Don't hang out with them.
It'd be Deegan against Pastrana. Pastrana's a nice, innocent little lad that doesn't swear, and here's Deegan over here with spikes on his vest and looking like war, you know. But it just played it up and created the good and bad just for TV. When we started doing X Games and motocross got allowed into X Games as one of the sports, that was huge for the sport. You know, it actually made it a sport. FMX freestyle motocross is a sport now. It's in the X Games. It made it to the Action Sport Olympics.
Yeah. Well, did you so you said at the start that you thought like, I knew this whole video thing was going to be huge, but did you ever think it would actually get refined into a sport?
Never even thought about it.
It's crazy, eh?
Yeah, it's crazy. But what happened was Kerry Hart and a few people started hanging out with some of the BMXers like Dave Mira or TJ Lavin. Kerry did, and saying, you know what, these guys are doing backflips and seat grabs and all these tricks on their bicycles. Why can't we do them on our dirt bike? We have suspension. We have more time in the air to do it and get back on the bike. If they can do it, we can do it. So that's where the big trick angle of it came into play, was from the BMXers.
And so that was like, when that all started going, did you make like an active decision not to like pursue that side of things and like just keep going down like the bigger? Or like, what was the thought process there?
I just felt like I kind of stood alone from the beginning of the motorcycle video movement, and I just wanted to stay that way. I didn't want to just be one of the competitors being judged and have to see what medal I got to have fans, because I was the first guy to make a living on a motorcycle that didn't race. I wasn't a racer.
Dude, that's fucking true. Like, you really were the first dude that ever got paid to like not have to get a checkered flag in your life.
And didn't have to work. Like, I made enough money where I didn't have to do any other jobs. I made a decent living for a few years just to ride my motorcycle, just to be a video star. Nothing else. I didn't have to go to contests. I didn't have to do anything special, just to be in those videos and do what I do. I was making a decent living. So a lot of the other guys might have made a living racing, or, you know,
because there was big money in the contest stuff for like a long time too.
A decent amount, but yeah, when those guys started going towards X Games, I just figured, you know what, nobody's really going after the distance. This record stood of 251 since 1991 or something like that, and here we are, 99 going on 2000, and nobody's broke this distance record that somebody made years ago.
Who was that?
His name is Doug Danger. He's just a stuntman, and he had the record, 251 feet from, I believe it was 1991.
Right. What bike did he do that shit on?
CR 500.
Really? And you did it on the 250A?
I started on the 250, but then I got a 500 and a 250 frame when I went for the record at St. Maurus House.
Yeah. And what year was that? Like 97? 99. Yeah. Okay. Fuck. Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah. Because I never thought of who had the record before you. Because you were the first person that I ever like.
Yeah, nobody had talked about it, or that's
I thought
what
it was Evil Knievel.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, that's crazy. Eh? When you guys were filming that for like the first movie, were you guys actively thinking about your image or anything like that, or was it as real as it got? Like, that was just a lifestyle that you were living. Like, were you wild as fuck before they put a camera on you, basically?
We just wanted to make a good video and make big jumps. So, yeah, whatever.
But like, were you guys partying and like that whole thing, like, because you go camping at Glamours, and there's basically dudes being crusty demons without actually filming it, like the fireworks, lighting shit on fire, shooting guns, getting drunk, like all that sort of shit. And it's like, was that just what you guys were like?
Yeah, that's just what we did, and then they just started filming it and showing the world what we did. That's just how we lived. So it wasn't like, we definitely upped it for the film, and, you know, okay, let's make something that people are going to be surprised at. Let's make this stand out so people want to buy the movie, of course. But before that, we were still finding jumps in the dunes and everywhere else when we would go free riding. So it's just a matter of getting a camera out and getting the shot. A lot of shots got missed. A lot of things, that crazy shit that went down and got missed, they didn't have the camera out in time. So,
is there any shit that stands out from that you like, just like, could have been the correct, like, crazy?
Once they got the first few shots in the first movie, there was always a camera. Anytime I was on a bike, there was a camera. So they didn't miss much of my shit, but they've missed a lot of things that happened in those early days. They didn't have cameras on it. People saw the videos, go out and did it, but they forgot to get the camera.
Oh, no shit.
It just crashes, crazy shit, you know? Now everything's on YouTube. Everybody's got a camera on their phone. Yeah. So it's just a lot of things that would have been good to watch like we see on YouTube in these days were missed because there wasn't a camera around. That's all. But once we started doing the videos, obviously we had cameras out. Every
Like,
time there
all
was
the time.
motorcycles, there was cameras. Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting what you were saying before about like how everyone went that contest mode and then you wanted to stand alone. Because now, like, when you think about you, like, you're like a myth, really. Like, you know, I've got a friend who he used to ride like every now and again. Just like 3 weeks ago, he's like, dude, can we put on like some Seth Enslow highlights? And it's just like this, it's so left field and so random, but it's like you've still got that effect on anyone that ever was sort of like into that scene. And it, as you were saying before, like I just wanted to stay in my own lane and do my own thing. That's probably what added to the myth and the legend of what you did, because if you did go and be doing backflips and contests and shit like that, it might not have, like, you might not have had that same sort of mythical kind of status that you do. Like, you just literally stayed and did your thing, like, basically that entire time.
Yeah, I just didn't want to be another rider. I wanted to do my own thing and be different.
Where, like, did that come from you, like, were you always that dude? Like, even when you were saying before, like, when I was a kid, I wanted to be, like, a stuntman, or wanted to, like, I was going to do that shit. Like, did you always have that drive to just, like, not be like everybody else?
We always one-upped each other, yeah. Me and my friends, my brother, my older brother. It's all who could. If you jumped off that level, I'm going to jump off the higher level. If you did this stunt, I'm going to do this, you know, whether it was snowboarding or dragging each other behind the car or whatever it was. Everything we did, we'd challenge each other, as kids do. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it was always seeing who could go the farthest or the biggest or the best whole life. Yeah. So I just didn't want to be just judged by judges with a bunch of other guys. I just want to do my own thing and keep going farther and pushing the distance and getting those distance records and just see how far we could fly a motorcycle.
Yeah.
It was all about going big. I liked going fast and going high and big. Like, second gear jumps are fun that they do the tricks on, but for me that was just a good jump to whip it.
Yeah.
I wasn't about doing tricks. I said, tricks are for kids. I want to go big. I want a fifth gear jump. When that first movie come out, what was the point where you were like, fuck, it worked, like, this is crazy? Because it really was like, or was it crazy straight away, or was it like a bit more of a momentum thing? It was huge, man. I remember the night of the first premiere of Crusty One at the club. Everybody was there.
Where did you guys do it?
It was called the Galaxy back then. Now it's called the Observatory. It's right there on Harbor Boulevard in the 405 in Costa Mesa.
Oh, yeah.
So it's right up the road from where I live now, where my house is now, actually. But yeah, that's where we had the first one. We used to do like club rubbers and big pimp and hoe parties and stuff at this nightclub. And we did the premiere there and pulled a screen down and showed everybody the video. And I hadn't seen the whole video. I didn't know I had my own segment. Like, I'd seen some of the footage when we'd watch it after a day riding, but I didn't see the whole edited thing with the music and all the clips, and definitely had no idea that I had my own segment. So I'm standing in the theater watching the video, and everybody's freaking out. Everybody's loving it. I'm just super excited that I'm a part of it. And all of a sudden the screen goes black, and my name comes down on the screen, and like blood drips. I'm like, what? I got my own segment? And then the song, I think the Ragdoll song started. And they just showed a bunch of my clips of crashing and everything else, and all the jumps we'd done that year. And I was just like, just floored, just like on such a high. And yeah, it just got better and better from then on out.
And so that, like, instantly after that premiere, it was pretty clear that, like, shit was going to be different.
For sure. But then shortly, when they realized we were filming Crusty Part 2, everybody kept asking me, what are you going to do? How are you going to one-up that sand dune launch that you did in the first video? So I don't know. We're just going to keep filming, and we'll see what happens, see what jumps we can find. And then ended up landing on all the bikes in the dunes for the second video. So there we go. We got the shot for the next video. Now what are you going to do for the third video? Like, oh shit,
like,
I fucking kill myself.
Leave me alone.
Yeah, what do I do now?
Is his first segment on YouTube? It'd be sick to fucking play that shit. When was the last time you watched it?
Oh, I don't know.
We got to try to find it. Because, yeah, dude, like, because I remember, man, I would have been young. Like, I don't want to date you guys, but I would have been, 10 or something like 11.
Well, if you're 30 now, I'm 44.
So when did it come out?
I was 19 when it came out.
No shit.
So it came out in 94.
Yeah, so I would have been like 8.
End of 94.
That's crazy. Yeah. Oh, 6 or 7. Yeah. So, and I remember watching it. I remember seeing like you said whereabouts is it?
Yeah, it's that top one.
Maybe.
No, I don't think so.
This is.
This is like an interview.
Crash video.
This is the interview.
Just see. Oh, the crusty one.
It's that top one.
I did a real.
Oh, that's the
maybe
one we
not.
just clicked.
Oh, okay.
Wonder if they're.
Yeah, it's that one.
That's just like
At
one
least
clip.
First part of it. Yeah.
This is tributes.
Type in Seth Enslow tribute. Is that what you made, Bubba?
Crusty
No,
one, right?
Seth is a real-
Sand dune jump or sand dune crash. Crusty one, sand dune crash. They gotta have it separate. Without watching the whole thing.
Yeah, just type in like Crusty 1 Seth Sand Dunes Crash or something. When was the last time you do you ever watch that stuff? Like, you probably don't really watch too much of it these days.
No.
Oh, just play that Seth Enslow tribute. Maybe that'll just go like from start to like a bunch of shit. Fuck. What was that one?
2002. Broke my femur. Not this one, but when they were taking me on the ambulance.
Fuck, dude. That's some. Oh my god, bro. That's some fucking heavy. Was this was from one, right?
Yeah.
Was that the big dog?
Yeah.
Fuck, bro. Holy shit. Pause that, Mick? What did you hurt off that?
My lower back got super compressed.
But you didn't break anything?
No.
How the fuck do you crash like that and not break anything?
Oh, lots of cow's milk working on the farm.
Yeah, that's that East Coast shit right there.
Make the bone strong.
What was that when you were sizing up that hit? Do you remember like the process of going through and like mentally what you were doing to like?
Yeah, I just
figure out
didn't
that?
want to come up short because it was a real big valley and a wall, so I wanted to make sure I cleared the gap. But
cleared a little.
It was a big step up or step down. I mean, the takeoff was a lot higher than the landing, so it stepped down. So by the time I started coming down, it was too late.
You just knew.
Just knew right away.
Do you remember being in
You always
the air
know.
on that?
As soon as you leave the takeoff of a ramp, you know exactly where you're going to land.
Yeah.
Too far, too short. I'm fucked. Here we are, along for the ride. We're fucked. It's a fucked ride, but here we go. So yeah, those 4 seconds seem like eternity. Like, fuck, here we go. How am I going to live this one?
Yeah, dude, that's a fucking heavy crash. So we go from that night in the premiere, and then what was it like after that? Because like essentially, it's like a superstar gets born. Like a bunch of you guys were like superstars out of that first movie. So it's like, what's the next sort of like little process after that?
Well, like I said, it took a while to spread. Videos started selling and started getting out there, and then we just kept working construction and then filming for part 2, and then probably by the end of filming for part 2 is when the sponsors started coming in.
Who was your first sponsor that you got on?
Well, Black Fly's been giving me sunglasses for a long time, but first paying sponsor I believe was Shift and Fox.
Really?
Yeah. They basically built the company Shift because they wanted to do the baggy pants that we were all wearing, and they didn't want to do it under Fox, so they made a mother company and created Shift and hired me and Jeff Emmett, him to be the racer, me to be the free rider. So I designed a whole line of gear, signature gear for Shift, and made royalties on that and had a salary, and they bought me a brand new dirt bike. First brand new motorcycle I ever owned was bought from me 1997 from Fox.
Was that
For
97 CR that is like that's your like favorite bike ride? Because didn't you just recently like rebuild one of those?
Yeah.
As like as a tribute
Oh,
to that bike?
that's the one. That's my bike.
Was that the bike?
Yeah.
So you still had it after all those
I
years?
still have it, yeah.
So you never got rid of that thing, never sold it?
Let somebody borrow it for a long time, and he left it out in the rain. It just got fucked. There was water in the bottom end, the cases, the
Who was that
suspension
putting on
was
blast?
blown.
Fuck that guy. No. That's a piece of history, son.
Yeah, he actually worked for Fox and Shift at the time. He He was like the team rider or something for Fox or Shift, and he's like, I'll get Fox to buy you a new bike if you let me borrow that old one. So I said, all right. It's like a brand new 2000 model, and let him borrow the 97. He never gave it back. Years later, I saw the guy, and where's that bike I let you borrow? Where are you? Well, I'm living in Hawaii. That bike's up in Northern California. I'm like, really? So now I have to drive and get the bike I let you borrow? Dickhead. So I drive all the way up there, and it's out in the rain in the motor, it's just blown out. So I tore it all apart and rebuilt it recently, and I'll just keep that bike forever because it was my first brand new bike, and it's got history as the first aluminum frame dirt bike ever, 1997 CR250 Honda. So yeah, it's just a classic. So I'll just hold on to that thing.
Were you always a Honda dude?
Yeah, no wing, no prayer.
Dude, that's so good. My that's what our family is like. Our family's just full blown Honda ever since we were kids.
Yeah, because
get a choice in that shit.
No, that's it. Like I said, David Bailey and Ricky Johnson were the guys back in the 80s, and they were on Hondas. Team Honda was always on top.
Yeah, dude, it's so true that you would have, and it's same as Dad. Like you guys are the same age pretty much, but like that Honda was such an iconic brand, eh? Like there was. But David Bailey, Jeff Stanton, John Michelle, but that whole 80s era of Hondas is just like it sold so many fucking motorcycles.
And then McGrath and Supercross on the 93 to 96, and yeah.
Then they had obviously Carmichael went and did what he did.
Yeah.
I feel like nowadays though, like you go to like any track, it's just so many KTM's. Like they just
they've done really well the last couple of years.
They the bikes are sick, but you could see what they did by like they started with the 60, and then it's like every kid as like the kids got older, like in 2 years, and they'd have an 85 ready for them, and then they've got Dungey.
They were definitely wise to make a good selection of mini bikes to get the kids started on those and go up through, because before that it was always Team Green. The kids always would start on Kawasaki's and then try to stick with those, but.
And then that Cowie 85's been the same for like how many?
Yeah.
Like probably since the 90s.
Yeah. All the two strokes. Didn't really change them. They couldn't make them any faster. That was it.
Were you always like a 2-stroke dude? Like you never did the 4-stroke thing?
At the end I did. In 2010, the Crusty Tour here was my first time hitting freestyle ramps on a 4-stroke. So that's when I converted. And then actually that was for freestyle ramps, but for distance ramp, that's the bike I jumped, was a 450 for the long distance in 2008 at Calder Park. So yeah, I've flown a lot farther on a 4-stroke than a 2-stroke.
So where the shifting happens, I didn't know that was how Shift came about, because that's like you've literally got like the biggest sponsor. Like Fox is basically the biggest gear company in the world. Like do you remember like the meetings of like was it Pete Fox back then that was like dealing with all that stuff?
Greg Fox, the oldest brother. They were just taking the company over from their dad.
Yep.
John, the youngest brother, and Pete and Greg Fox. And the Crusty 1 was distributed by Thor Gear and Parts Unlimited. They distributed Crusty 1. For Crusty 2, because Crusty 1 did so well, Fox said, hey, we want to distribute it. We also want to make a baggy line of gear to sell along with distributing this movie. So let's make Shift as a new company. Then they hired Adam Barker and Troy Adamitis right out of college to make a movie and do something different than just the Crusty videos. And then we made Fresno Smooth. So that was the big crossover change of hands of the company Fox when their dad was ready to retire and hand it to the 3 sons. And then they started Shift and made Fresno Smooth, and Dad came back and said, whoa, what are you guys doing? But it was too late. The movement had started.
It was like no stopping that shit too. Like once it did get rolling, bro, like it literally took on, like it started like a cultural movement.
Yeah, it's funny because when I first went to Huntington Beach and met Dana Nicholson with Bubba, we got to talk, and I started working with him every day. So we'd hang out and do shop talk in the garage and just talk about what to film and talk about big jumps we wanted to go hit and film and things like that. And we felt it all building, and we knew we were getting some amazing footage. And Dana described it like, we're taking a snowball right now. We're on the top of the mountain. We're backing it up about the size of a softball. We're going to roll it down the hill and watch how big that fucker gets. And it's just going to keep rolling and taking shit out in its path. And it's going to pick it up, and it's going to pick it stronger and stronger, and it's going to pick up a bunch of dickheads, and hopefully we'll just fling them right back out and just keep getting stronger and bigger. And that's what's happened.
Yeah, fuck, dude. It is such a trip. What was it like having that meeting with like Shift for like a brand new company? Like you literally, the first sponsor is basically like the biggest brand in motocross.
Well, I'm pretty sure Johnny Freeman and Dana Nicholson had my back when they did the deal for the distribution. They said, listen, we'll give you distribution and taking it from Thor, but you got to hook up Seth. He needs a sponsor. He needs to make some money. And this, okay, how are we going to do that? Well, let's start Shift, and he can be the guy for the free riding and Shift, and we'll hire Emick to do the racing side of it. So,
what was a paycheck like that worth back then with Shift? Like, if that's not too,
I was making 6 figures. Yeah.
So that was just
that
like
was huge.
So you literally went from like doing construction,
broke dick, to
living fucking big pimping.
Well, living pretty good. Even considering buying a Harley and a vehicle, and a few years later bought my first house, and yeah, it was all happening.
And then so you get that as like a sign on, and then you got like royalties from the gear, and
it's monthly salary, and then quarterly royalties for the gear, and then
you would have been getting royalties from the film, right?
No, I never made any money on the film.
Oh, okay, yeah.
They never shared that. They never paid us to be in it, and they never shared the profits. But I made a living through the film. Yeah,
makes sense.
It is what it is. But yeah, and then we started doing live shows over here in '99.
Yeah.
And so I, obviously keep all the money for the live shows to come and entertain and travel the world. I've been to Sweden riding in the ice with spikes in my tires and just all over the place doing live shows. So obviously that money, and then other sponsors started paying me. Van shoes, and then went to DVS shoes and with Etnies shoes. And they're all paying sponsors, and sponsors come and go, but there was a good handful of paying sponsors for a while there. It was good.
Did you ever get stuck with like the whole agent fuckery and like
no,
people
I
doing
didn't.
that?
I didn't ever want anybody to speak for me. I always wanted to do it myself, and I probably missed out on a lot of money because of that, because I'm not really a good salesman, and I let my actions speak for my words. So I'm not gonna spice anything up until it happens, but at the same time, I didn't want I never found anybody that I really bonded with and felt like, okay, this guy will do right by me, and he's a good face to be speaking and dropping my name around.
Yeah.
Because most agents are just worthless dickheads. They're just trying to make money off you. So they don't really care about your best interests. They're worried about themselves.
Was it instantly like as soon as that momentum started happening that there was like, I can imagine dudes just left and right, just like, I could fucking get you this, I could get you this, let me do this, let me do that.
Yeah, exactly. They all started coming out of the woodwork when they saw that there was money to be made.
Yeah, and I bet like that time too, because like that was the big money sort of era of just the industry of a whole.
It was pretty big, but I missed out on the energy drinks, and they're the highest paying sponsors that anybody's ever had.
Yeah.
So that was before Monster and Red Bull and all that, and I was before those, so that was a big paying sponsor that I missed out on.
Dude, the Monster thing would have been a fit.
Yeah.
Or Rockstar, because you guys were fucking rock stars. Speaking of that, man, like, so the 99, the first tour that you guys did down here, like, I've got a bunch of friends who were like on that tour, around that tour. That was apparently one of the craziest fucking times of like a lot of the people that I know's lives. Like, what was that tour like?
We just laugh and say, I miss those 90s.
Because I know stories. I know fucking word for word stories of people that were there, and no one wants to fucking talk about it.
Yeah.
I want to put out something that reflects how fucking crazy that
decade, was. Basically from 95 when Crusty came out, late 94, 95 to 2005. So the late 90s and the early 2000s, even all the way up till 2010.
Because it was before social media.
Yeah, that first decade and a half.
100%. Because so I've had Kerry on the podcast, and like I've fucking drank a bottle of Jameson with him and like heard stories, and like I've heard stories from a bunch of people, and it's like they all say the same thing. It's like, dude, there was no social media. Like, it's not to say you could just do whatever you wanted, but like you could kind of do whatever you wanted because there just wasn't the fucking phones, like any chick or dude or fucking entourage or anyone that was around you guys couldn't just whip out a phone. Like the control, there was a lot more control.
The only way you get sold out is being that we all had cameras always around us, is if one of the filmers sold you out. and
Which
filmed
that's
you doing
never
something
happened.
lame and then put it on a video or let it, but it'd have to be on a video. It couldn't just leak out on YouTube,
Exactly,
So
yeah.
only a few people would see it, and we were all tight enough that we're not going to sell each other out. And, it just was just a bond between all the boys having a good time. So it wasn't like it is now. It's way different. And people couldn't whine and complain. They took it. It is what it is, and moved on. Nowadays, it's just like the video era died in early 2000s because people could watch. YouTube came out and people could watch just that 2-minute clip that they wanted to see. They didn't have to sit through the whole half-hour video. So everything just became way more instant coffee, instant video, instant music.
Instant gratification.
There was no patience anymore, and that's because of the technology that's come our way. So people just don't have the patience or the love that they used to have for things. Everything's just now, want it now.
Yeah. But then on the flip side of that, though, when you get a film like The Art of Flight, everyone's like, have you seen that film, The Art of Flight?
Mm-mm.
That big Red Bull snowboard film with Travis Rice?
Mm-mm.
Bro, do yourself a favor tonight. Get on iTunes and rent that fucking movie.
Yeah.
It is the most beautiful, like, portrayal of action sports you've ever seen. Like, with snowboarding, it's just so insane. But it is like, it come out probably like 4 or 5 years ago. But it's like, it stemmed from that time of like going sort of full circle of what you said. Is like this group of filmers, they took like a huge budget and they took like years to make this film. And then they put it out, and it's because it was so successful because we live in a world of just like exactly what you said. So now it's like it's getting harder to fund those kind of projects because brands are just like, fuck, just shoot it on your iPhone, post it on Instagram. But if you can do that shit nowadays, you really can like capture people's attention because it's so rare, like because of exactly what you just said, But yeah, the that tour, I want people to know just how fucking crazy. Obviously that's shit you can't say, but like it must have, like, was it a trip to just be like living in that world? Like you were the star of that world, and it was so fucking crazy, and it was like you guys were legit just rock stars. And I know Australia just ate the Crusties up, like maybe more than anybody, really.
Yeah, for sure.
Like it seemed fucking crazy, and it's like you guys just landed touchdown, and it was just insanity, like Beatles shit.
Yeah, we'd get picked up from the airport in limousines and get taken to all the good spas, all the good nightclubs, and people would be offering us their bikes to ride, their Harleys to do burnouts on, their women to fuck, like whatever. Just like, take it all. What do you want, man? I'd be honored if you fucked my chick.
That's so crazy, dude.
Are you serious? I just married this girl last week, but I'd be fucking honored if you could just crush that pussy right now.
That's
like,
so nuts.
Really? Like, yeah, crazy shit.
You're like, fuck yeah, Australia. We're doing this tour every single fucking year. But dude, wasn't WA pretty gnarly with like, don't want to go there?
Just riots and stuff. The first show, they came out and flipped cars and caught on fire.
It was like in the movies.
They always just storm the stadium and flip the ramps, and basically all the riders have to evacuate or they're going to get ripped off their bikes, get their jerseys stolen, their helmets stolen. Like the fans would come up for attack, like they're wearing gold just to get their goggles or gloves or anything, any piece of it just to touch it. Yeah, like Beatles shit. Like Elvis and Beatles shit.
It's crazy, eh? Yeah, because that was in the movies, right? Like you guys would film that shit, and like
Metzger got tackled.
Dude, right?
Yeah, he's got his helmet waving it around, and they're like, "I want that helmet. You're offering it? I'm gonna get it." And they just tackled him.
It's a fucking red flag. To just like a whole bunch of hungry bulls.
Exactly.
Why do you think Australia ate that shit up so much? Because like, is it fair to say that Australia is like pretty much the craziest country of like fandom for the Crusties?
100%. Yeah.
Wonder why.
By far.
You think by far?
By far.
Yeah.
Why was that? Like,
just you guys just love crazy.
Crazy cunts. Fuck.
Yeah, sick cunt.
Amen to that. Yeah, no, because like I'd literally like you'd hear these just fucking crazy stories of like, yeah, you can just fucking any chick you want, anything you want. You need this, we'll get you this. You got that's waiting in your hotel room. You finish the show, that's waiting in your room with fucking anything goes. And it's like, just to like you come from like such a humble fucking background, man. Like you're not this like manufactured superstar. What a bunch of people got together and like, we could fucking make Seth Enslow like this crazy thing, and you've come from money. It's like you were just the fucking bottom to the top in a super short period of time. Like, it's got to be a trip when you're in that moment.
Yeah, man, it's good. I mean, living the dream, you know. We really lived it for sure, 100%. Traveling the world, getting paid to ride my dirt bike, you know, that like to get paid to do something you love to do and get to travel and you know, get favors like that from people you don't even know, and you know, it's just it's definitely a good feeling. But we succeeded, you know. We packed that snowball and rolled it down the hill, and it just got bigger and bigger, and we just, you know, it was great. It's we're not millionaires, but we were able to not have to work construction for a good 10-15 years and see the world and get paid to do what we love to do. So we made it. We pulled it.
Have you like had to go back and work and stuff? Like,
yeah.
Or what, like, when did that sort of like, did it end?
Would have been right after our last tour, 2010. So yeah, for the last 10 years, I've been working full-time construction.
Yeah. And do you like building bikes and shit as well, or?
Yeah, on the side, tattoo on the side. And,
dude, actually, I did see that.
Build houses and work on Harleys and dirt bikes, and so all kinds of construction, from tile flooring to drywall, metal framing, wood framing, roofing, whatever. But also now I just joined the Heavy Equipment Operators Union, which is like earth movers, like big earth mover caterpillars. So I've been doing that for the last couple of years. And just there's good benefits there, decent money. So I'm doing that until I find something better. I mean, I don't love it, but it's a good job. So I'm thankful to land a good job like that.
How tight is the whole crew of like you guys, Dana, like that whole, like, is there a thing where you think that some movies could get remade, like shit could kind of get going again? Because it's like, it's such like a legacy brand, you know?
We're trying. We've Adam Barker's been writing a script for the sequel to Fresno Smooth for the last few years, actually, and he's finally got some sponsors that are interested, and some energy drink companies are showing some interest. So the script's pretty much there, and he's got a list of actors that he's talked to that want to be involved, and of course I want to be involved, and he's just waiting to get the budget and get it all funded and get it rolling. So that's in the works. And besides that, you know, we're here touring again, so we're trying to get the whole live touring thing going again after 9 years of a break for Crusty. And so I mean, I'll be involved any way I can. It definitely beats doing construction, but it is what it is.
No, definitely. It just seems like it's such a, like, you guys just built such a crazy brand that it's like it has to, you know what I mean? Like, it is such a legacy thing. Like, you can't, like, that shit just doesn't like stop, you know, especially nowadays. I think it's like probably that it's just figuring out how to make it work in like the new landscape, right?
Well, you never want your wheels to fall off, right? But eventually they're gonna. So we're just trying to keep the wheels rolling and not fall off one way or another, you know? So as long as the wheels are rolling, we'll keep it going till the wheels fall off. So, you know, it is what it is. But, you know, hopefully we can extend the life of the name Crusty and just of all our careers. You know, me and Bubba don't want to go back working 9 to 5s or 6 to 2s or 10-hour days and weekends too. Like, all that shit's for the birds. But especially after having a 15-year early retirement, so to speak, and being able to travel the world and get paid to do what you love to do and not have to wake up every day and go to work. So it's a big change. But you got to do what you got to do. There's bills. Once you create bills and get a mortgage and car payments, and now my daughter's going to college and she needs college money, and it just never ends. Money doesn't last forever.
Especially in Orange County.
Yeah, right.
That place ain't no joke. I had a house there for a year. I fucking had to figure that shit out real quick.
Why I live in Florida now.
Oh, yeah, you're in Florida? Yeah, it's so much, fuck, it's crazy how
So
much
much
cheaper it is, dude.
cheaper.
It's crazy, dude.
My sister's in Mississippi. She came to visit with her husband last month, and she said, "What do these houses go for?" I'm like, "About $800,000-$900,000." She's like, "What? You could get this in Mississippi for under $100, like $80,000." I'm like, wow.
Fuck Mississippi, though.
Fuck Mississippi. Exactly.
I mean, I get it, but fuck Mississippi.
So it's hard to find places with so much work and so much going on as what we got in California. So yeah, it's expensive to live there, but The weather's the best in the world. In
Yeah.
2 hours, we can be snowboarding, come back down, ride our dirt bike, or surf the waves all in the same day. 4 hours out to the sand dunes to ride in the wintertime when it's cool enough.
4 hours to Vegas.
4 hours to Vegas, exactly. 2 hours to the Mexican, border to Tijuana and San Diego there. A couple hour and a half, 2 hours from my house. So there's a lot going on within a few hour drive.
And there's just like, I mean, it's all of America in general, but just like fucking diversity, dude. Like a dude like you could find more dudes like you, and a dude like me can find other dude. It's like whatever you're into. There's like, there's no such thing as like fringe culture in California. I feel like there's just so many people to support. Like if you want to do yoga crazy, if you want to be a snowboarder, if you want to be a surfer, if you want to if you're into Harleys, if you're into like whatever you're into,
you can find your clique. Yeah,
it's great. But and a lot of them,
yeah.
It's not like you'd be like these fringe weirdos.
Yeah,
like everyone's got a home.
But you got to remember, I mean, California's a pretty big state, and just Southern California, just the south part of California, has the same amount of people as your whole country. So there's a lot of people in America. Especially in California.
Yeah, it is. It's fucking, yeah, like living there for so long, like it was there's like, you guys have like complex issues in America, and like every country has issues, but there's like complex ones, and I think so many of them, it just stems from fucking people. And like I'd have...
It's the averages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
a
just...
lot of people, there's a couple dickheads.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like, yeah, and if you said like, if you build a football stadium with 80,000 people, like how many of those dudes are fucking retards you would not want to hang around?
Yeah, right.
And then multiply that out by how many fucking million, But like that would be the thing when anyone had like something would go down, and they'd be like, whoa, fucking, that's crazy, like living over there. I'm like, dude, there's just so many people. Like what do you expect all that people to, or like, you've got all those people, like what do you expect is going to happen?
Yeah, and even with the weather, there's flooding and tornadoes and shit in some states, and then we're pretty chilling in California, but we have earthquakes. So each state has its own, each area has its deal. The northern part gets covered in snow and live like they're Canadians, and then we deal with earthquakes and fires because it's so dry, we don't get much rain, so there's fires a lot in California. But other states deal with flooding and winds and tornadoes ripping their roofs off. So it just, everybody's got their issues with weather and with people. It's pretty segregated in California. Where the different races live. There'll be an area that's predominantly Asian. There's a lot of Vietnamese markets and stuff like that in that area. Then there'll be an area that's like predominantly Mexican, and there'll be just everywhere you see is a Mexican restaurant, and tons of Mexicans live in that area. And then there'll be, it's kind of segregated. With that, it's just not all mixed together.
Yeah.
It's close, but it's like different worlds.
Yeah.
In a very short distance. Like people that live in Temecula, they're only an hour from me where I live at the beach. I never see them. Like I see Robbie Madison maybe once or twice a year, and he's an hour away. Yeah. But I don't ride dirt bikes anymore, so I don't need to go out there and hit his ramps. I have no reason to go out there. Yeah. He doesn't come down and surf or go for bike rides on the beach. But if he's at, like, randomly, he was flying out of John Wayne Airport, which is only 5 minutes from my house. Missed his plane. Hey, I missed my flight. Can I come hang out? Oh, it'd be great to see you. Stop in for a beer or whatever while you wait. Fuck yeah. But, it's we're so close but so far because there's so much going on. There's a whole other world over there, and they don't need to come all the way down here unless it's something special. I don't need to go out there unless I'm going to ride or,
and plus like the traffic too.
Yeah, like you got to time it. You got to go in the middle of the day or late at night. Yeah.
Well, so like I lived in I spent like a year living like around Sunset, like La Cienega and Sunset Boulevard, like right in West Hollywood. And it was like I never drove anywhere. I was like, I'm just not gonna do anything because it was so hard to get in the car and like drive anywhere. And I think like that's probably a big part of it as well. Why like Robbie's probably, like here, like my parents live an hour from me, but it's like, it's an hour every time. It doesn't matter. Like there's no way that I'm going to drive there and it'll take like 4 hours instead of 1, or if I don't go at the exact right time, you're going to get stuck. Like it's just, there's a little bit of peak hour like work traffic. Yeah. So I think that's probably has like a little bit to do with it as well, eh?
We're overpopulated. As a planet, there's too many people. We can't support all this trash and these landfills and everything we're sucking out of, all the oil, all the gases we're sucking out of this planet. There's too many people.
How do you fix it though, eh?
mass disaster.
Yeah. Well,
Some
I think like,
crazy shit's gonna happen.
but for real, like that's the shit that. But that's what like levels stuff out, right? Is like
Well,
when,
it's obvious that there was a flood at one time.
Yep.
Right. And like it just look at the numbers of people. How many numbers we are now compared to even 100 years ago. We've like quadrupled. It's like ridiculous. Like the amount that we're multiplying is too much. Like people need to stop fucking like rabbits. And China having that rule where you only have one kid, it's not a bad idea.
probably the move. The problem with fucking like rabbits is like you get paid to fuck like rabbits. Like if
exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like that's one of the. Because have you? Well, dude, this election for 2020, like, are you into like much politics sort of shit? Like, do you follow a lot of it?
Not really.
There's like Andrew Yang that he's going for the Democratic Party. He's talking about like universal basic income, and then Bernie Sanders famously wants to like pay for college tuition, the free healthcare, and all that sort of stuff. So it's like feel like there is some like revolutionary shit that. It sort of like has to happen, right? I feel like Trump was the first like revolutionary thing to happen because it's like I was living there when that was going down and everyone was like, there's no way that he'll be president. And I'm like, yes, fucking way he'll be president.
Go for 4 more.
You reckon he'll get in again?
Don't hate Trump for 8.
Don't hate Trump, right? But like the thing, and I mean, it's like where you grew up, right? Like that is an area that.
Well, I told my mom the other day that she still lives back there. And I go, Mom, there's too many people. She's like, no, there's not, honey. I go, not where you live.
Yeah, you don't live where the people
The
are.
closest house is miles away because you live out in the country on farmland. But come around some other states or just look at the population in China or whatever.
Just hang on the 405 for like an hour.
She's like, there's tons of room out there. I'm like, yeah, well, people aren't just going to go live out in the field. The people congregate in groups, like around cities and suburbs. And like, yeah, there's tons of unoccupied land still in the world, but they're cutting down all the rainforest to feed all these cows that we need to feed because of the meat demand. And the cows are polluting the air worse than any vehicle. Yeah. The carbon imprint that cows and their farts and shit
methane,
make is way higher than any car. So we're going to have a bunch of electric cars. That's only a small portion of the problem. We got too many fucking people. Too many people eating meat. Yeah. Everybody's not going to go vegan and vegetarian. We've been eating meat for way too long. Yeah. There's always going to be the meat eaters, but it's hurting us.
Are you vegan? You veg?
No.
Fuck no.
But I've watched videos where you want to be because you see that what's going on with the whole meat thing and the animal, using animals for everything we do. It's like we got to feed them, and the amount of water that each cow uses, and like, okay, what happens when we run out of water? Yeah, which it's like Water World, like that movie that Kevin Costner was in way back in the day. You know, it's like, well, that if we run out of water and we don't have drinking water because we polluted the earth too much and the air too much, then what are we going to do? So it's like, because still feed the cow, it's 100 gallons of water a day it needs to produce that one burger. Yeah. Like the breakdown is retarded.
Well, that's like the crazy thing when you watch those documentaries is like one death for one meal. Like that's essentially what a chicken is. Like one dead chicken can feed one meal of like 4 people, really. Like that would be like how many people could eat a chicken. Whereas like the cows, it's like one dead cow might be like 100 meals if you like eat all of the cow or whatever. But like it is pretty crazy that you would grow and farm an entire living animal to kill it, and then that one dead animal just eats like 4 people for one meal. Like you're just eating a chicken for lunch. Like it's pretty fucking crazy, the process of when you break it down into like those into like that terminology. Yeah.
But it's like, I feel like our hands are tied. What can you do? You can whine about it all you want. You can vote. You can vote whoever you want to vote in. You can go vegan. You can stop taking showers. You can just do bird baths in the sink to save water.
But if it's just
that makes such a small impact on the amount of water that these animals that we are raising to eat make. You know? So it's on Netflix. All those. Yeah. You know.
What the Health or whatever.
Yeah. What the Health is one of them, and then the other one is a Cowspiracy. Oh, same guy did them both. Cowspiracy was first and What the Health was second. Yeah. And they're similar, but Cowspiracy is mainly just about the cows, where What the Health touches on more than just cows. Yeah. But yeah, it's heavy, man.
Are you into conspiracies? Are you a bit of a conspiracy guy by the sounds of this?
it's just facts.
Yeah.
It's true. It's not that it's a conspiracy. It's just what's happening, and everybody's blind to it.
Well, that's what I mean. Like,
So it's not really. It's not
a conspiracy.
It's not
as
like
such, but
something that got pulled out of the sky. You know. Like,
yeah.
Like everything from you guys getting your guns taken from supposed one guy down in Tasmania.
Yeah.
Doing that. Yeah. Right. To the Twin Towers getting flown into by planes and collapsing. That wouldn't have caused that to happen.
Yeah.
There's so many things that the media tells people that everybody just believes and falls into order, like drones or like, you know, chess pawns or puppet show. It's like, okay, that's what it said on TV. I guess that's the way it is. And we're just so blinders are on. Here you go. Here's your phone. Let your kids sit there in the corner and play video games and don't worry about everything that's going on.
You're pretty much fucking bang on the money with that shit.
So it's like, that's what everybody wants. So it's not, call it a conspiracy theory, but it's just fucked what's going on in this world, you know? And everybody's just like, whatever.
Well,
just
I think
live with it, you know?
I reckon that, like, in parallel with each other, because I fucking love all this shit as well. Like, in parallel with, like, the mass media is just probably feeding us more and more shit than we've ever been fed before. And, like, here, watch this, sit in the corner, don't ask questions. That's probably at an all-time high. But then on the other hand, on an all-time high is like people like me, like doing the podcast, is like no one's fucking controlling this shit. You could say whatever you wanted right now. No, there's no that like would not be allowed on mainstream media, would not be allowed on the news, would never get on a network. Too controversial. It's a conspiracy. You know, you get like they would label you like that. But there's so many platforms now where like you can say whatever the fuck you want on here, and there's so many people doing it. So it's like, as there's so much crazy shit that goes on with the media, at the same time there's like so many people that are out there giving you like the information that you're getting that is factual. Like you can actually get that information.
What do you want to see? What do you want to believe? How do you want to live? You got tons of options.
Yeah. Well, that's what the whole like fake news thing when Trump got elected. Like, it's so brilliant because it's fucking crazy true, but then at the same time it's like almost harmful in a way, because now you can label anything as fake news. Like, you don't need to discredit something with facts. You can just say fake news.
Well, think of the freedom of speech that we have now with these podcasts and things you do, like you just mentioned. But think about how hard it was for Howard Stern to do what he was doing 10, 20 years ago or whatever. Now he was getting weapons thrown at him left and right, verbal attacks, you name it. You know,
he
law,
did crazy
everything.
shit. Yeah.
So and he just kept doing it, and it's finally changed.
He's probably the guy that is like one of the key turning point guys, for sure, right? Yeah. Like, there wasn't really anyone.
Well, Jason Ellis followed him way later, but you know, it's he was definitely he started it.
Well, because Joe Rogan's podcast is like basically the biggest one in the world.
Oh yeah,
and he talked about Howard Stern being like the dude that wrote the license for everyone to just say and do whatever the fuck they wanted. Because like they'd throw like fucking midgets at sticky Velcro boards and like real like legit Wolf of Wall Street shit.
Midget tossing, that's fun.
but to like, everybody else, it's like, fuck, you can't do that shit.
Yeah.
But it's like, we are in like a crazy fucking PC era. But then at the same time, like you said, we're almost in like the most free time, and it seems like it's such a battle between like those two opposing forces. Like, you want to have control, and then there's people that also are like hardcore fucking freedom of speech and like produce their own content and do their own shit. It's like a pretty weird time like that, eh?
It's very diverse and just wide open, but at the end of the day, there's too many people.
It's too many fuck people. Get rid of the people. Fuck, there was a bit of, not like a conspiracy thing, but there was something I was thinking. Oh, that fucking Dylan Epstein. Have you been following that shit? You know, like the billionaire pedophile dude that just killed himself in prison the other day? Bro, you want to fucking talk about like a conspiracy not being a conspiracy? That's the fucking one. Like, apparently Bill Clinton rode on his private jet 23 times while he was in office. Yeah, Google some of this shit. There's like facts about this. So you're telling me that there's this guy, like there was some like a bunch of senators, a bunch of all these super powerful people that just like hang with this fucking dude.
They're weirdos, man.
Crazy. Like, but those people at the top, right? Like the very, very, very top. Like, we're just fucking regular people. Can you imagine? And like, all right, so let's go back to the 99 Crusty tour. Imagine like how fucking crazy and out of control some of the shit you guys would have done at your level of just being Seth Enslow, a fucking gnarly sender on a dirt bike, compared to being a US fucking senator or a president of the United States. Like, imagine how out of control, like, not out of control, but a license to like do whatever you wanted. Like, that's probably what you guys would have felt back in those days. So like, as Seth Enslow feeling like I can do whatever I want. Imagine Bill fucking Clinton.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine what it would feel like to just have that much power and to do? So like, you're telling me that they're just good dudes? You know, that there's no fuckery going on at like that top echelon of society. It's like, these guys are like fucking billionaires.
He was banging Monica with the cigars.
I never. Allegedly. Please say allegedly.
Yeah. I smoke weed, but I didn't inhale.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
Well, what did you do then?
But like, even, fuck, bro, like I feel like, so to lay it out for people that don't know what happened, I forget, and people are actually going to listen to this. There's a guy, Dylan Epstein. No one really knows what the fuck he did. Jeffrey Epstein. He was like a billionaire. He was in prison awaiting trial for like pedophilia charges. They found like,
but also child trafficking. He was like selling kids, pedophile. Like, yeah.
So
that's big.
Have you ever heard of Alex Jones?
No.
Oh, dude, you'd love his shit. You got to watch his shit. But he said this thing like years ago, like went on this crazy rant about like there's a child sex ring and it's all through like the government and it's all through all of these people, and he like named all these people. He named this Jeffrey Epstein dude. But anyway, so this guy's in prison, like waiting trial for these charges. He tries to kill himself once, and then they stopped it. They got to it. Then he went into care or whatever, goes back into his cell, and then, what was it, like 5 days later, he is dead. So they let him fucking kill himself again. So it's like, you want to talk about a conspiracy. How many powerful motherfuckers, like super top of the food chain powerful people, would want that guy not to talk? Because you think he's just being a fucking weirdo selling kids and shit on his own? Like, that's the people that he rubs shoulders with.
Yeah.
So it's like, you want to talk about that like level of like control, and you know, that's I think is going to be like one of the biggest.
Yeah. Did he really kill himself?
That's what I'm saying. Like, and if you're a billionaire, are you ever going to kill yourself? Like, would you back yourself that all that money could get you out of jail?
Seems like.
You think so, right?
Yeah, everything's
like,
for sale.
Because like, you'd feel like you'd have to be like a semi-arrogant dude to even get to be a billionaire, right? Yeah, you know what I mean?
I'd say.
Like, oh, you got to go. You got to wrap it up. Well, all right, if you got to get out of here. I really appreciate the time, man. It was,
no worries.
It was really cool to get to chat and.
Yeah, my daughter's flying to Brisbane to see my buddy Mick Applin owns a tattoo shop up there, and she's friends with their daughter.
Yep.
Their daughter's going to visit us. Now Kylie's here for her first time.
Awesome.
And part of her trip this week in Brisbane is to fly up to Mackay and hang out with Dakota for a couple of days. So I got to get her to the train stop, because I'm not driving to Brisbane Airport right now because of traffic, because you guys do have traffic.
A little bit. What time? No, it's only 1 o'clock. You get that in fucking an hour.
That's going on too. But I'm not driving up there. I'm going to drop her off at the train stop, and she's going to take that train up to the airport.
Yep, sweet.
But yeah, we could do another 5 minutes or something, but I just kind of got to wrap it up soon.
Well, anything that the people should know, anywhere to sort of get in touch, any projects you got coming up, where you're tattooing, just give the people anything.
I'll be tattooing around here for the next week or so. I'm going to hang around this area. I'm not going to go to Townsville till next Thursday. Oh, okay. So I'll be tattooing in the area. So yeah, if anybody wants to make, I got my equipment with me. And
I might need to get a Seth Enslow tattoo.
Yeah, I'll be around. So I got transportation. So I'm mobile. So I'll be somewhere between Chindra and Brisbane for the next week, and we can tattoo wherever. I got all my gear.
Well, maybe we could do like a part 2 of this, like split it up if you want to do any extra time. But I really appreciate you coming on. And Bubba, it was really cool to meet you as well, man. And
what you do.
We need to get you on this as well at some point.
Anybody can hit me up on Seth Enslow 11, my Instagram page, of course, and then that's the main thing I'm on. But I also do Facebook Messenger. I don't really mess with Facebook much, but I'll tag some shit that I put on Instagram onto Facebook,
documentaries and shit,
and just use it for Messenger to stay in touch with people. But yeah, either one of the social media nets right there, they can message me if they want to catch up for a tattoo in the next week.
Yeah, sweet. Was this your first like podcast? Have you sat down and done these?
No, I've
before,
never
or?
done one before.
Oh,
No.
sweet. Oh,
But they've talked about us doing like the whiskey throttle thing that the boys are doing down there, and then there's another one that there's a couple going on down there that they've talked about having me be on, but I haven't been on there yet.
Oh, sweet. Well, I'm glad we were able to do the first one.
Yeah, you're the first.
Not really much rules when it comes to this shit. You can just do whatever. So.
Right.
Hey, pump the tour.
Oh yeah, what's the deal with the tour?
Oh,
Where
the
can people
tour.
see
So
you?
we got Brisbane this weekend, and then we got
Tickets still for sale?
Yep.
Crusty.com.
We got
Crusty.com.
Crusty.com. We got Townsville next weekend, and then they're going up to Darwin, and then Perth isn't till end of September. I think it's the last weekend of September, and then we do Perth, then Adelaide, Melbourne. Supposed to go to Tasmania and come back for a couple stops in New South Wales, Canberra, Wagga Wagga, and Campbelltown was the initial plan. So we'll see. We'll see how far we get.
Dude, Wagga Wagga will be sick.
Yeah.
All the boys will be coming out in force from Wagga Wagga.
Yeah, Wagga's good. I've been there a few times.
Nah, sweet. All right, thanks very much for coming on the show, bro. I really
Right on,
appreciate
man.
it.
Cool.
You.
Thanks, brother.
Oh, thank you guys. Sorry, I didn't even ask about the time.
Oh, it's all good. I just got the
No,
girls sitting in the
they're
van.
waiting out front.
They're just fucking
We,
like, fuck, we want to see surfers.
We normally do these fuckers for like 3 hours.
Oh,
I watched something. I don't know.